All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Media Planet podcast. This is Jeff Jarman here of the Jeff Jarman Show. This is John Barnhart here, my co-host. We are going to be starting off this podcast brand new, totally fresh. It's going to be all about media entertainment. John, I'll let you kind of explain what exactly we're going to be doing with this.
We're going to be looking over everything media, anything to do with entertainment, whether it's books, movies, music, TV shows, basically anything we're passionate about, and anything the listeners want to hear too. I mean, I'm all for anything. I just say jump in, and video games are a big one, movies, huge popular TV shows right now, anything.
Yeah. And I think part of it will be like a review type of element, and then also just kind of a discussion, a brief discussion of different, like we said, whatever it may be, movies, TV shows, whatever. Especially video games, because that's like my specialty. Movies would be John's specialty, or books especially. So for this episode, the very first one, I feel like it's probably a good idea to give kind of like a top 5 list from each of us of our favorite movies, TV shows, and video games. Because I think that you can learn a lot about a person by what kind of media they're into. And so this way you actually get to a little glimpse at what we are into, and maybe even the kind of stuff that we'll be talking about going forward. So this episode is going to be all about that. I think next episode we're going to cover maybe what video games are going to look like in the future. We've done some research in that area, and it looks really promising, and it's really exciting, and I think you guys will be excited for that. Also going forward, we could talk about some of the actors who maybe you thought you would never have expected to see them in this role that they maybe auditioned for and didn't get it. So just lots of little inside information. We'll give you things that you wouldn't normally know about. So John, I will let you start out with your top 5 movie list and kind of just go through and give a brief explanation why each one is in your top 5.
Okay, well, I'll start out. On my movies, number 5 is the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Definitely number 5, just a big Peter Jackson's vision just coming all in. The graphics were even good. For 2003, that was really good. The battle scenes were awesome, and the story just came completely around, especially now with the Hobbit trilogy finishing up. It's just amazing seeing all of it come full circle. Scarface, Martin Scorsese's film from 1983. I mean, Al Pacino was just such a supreme job in that one. It's just the video, just the way it was filmed was just amazing. Just kind of shows that underground American dream. You're rooting for him even though you know it's not going to turn out good for him.
Yeah.
My next one is, let's see, the 2007 Halloween remake. Rob Zombie remade that one. I really enjoyed that one. I mean, I'm a fan of the original as well from the 70s, but this remake, he made one good movie, and that's all it needed for that character, and it just seemed like it. You got the whole story of Michael Myers from beginning to end.
Do you know if they're going to do any sequels to that one moving forward?
Well, see, they've done the Halloween 2, and I know there was a huge ordeal over that to get Rob Zombie to do it, but they are doing a third one as far as I know. And I don't know a whole lot else besides that they have announced that they are doing a Halloween 3, but it's not going to have anything to do with Rob Zombie, though. He refuses to have anything else to do with them right now. So
Interesting.
On number 2, I put down the 1981 Evil Dead. Just Sam Raimi, low budget, Bruce Campbell, legendary part playing Ash. It's just a cult classic. So many people enjoy that movie, and it's held up to the test of time so far. I remember the first time I seen it just thinking, it's kind of poorly shot, but then you look back at it a little bit more in a couple of years, and it's like, it's pretty good for what they had.
Yeah.
It's just, a bunch of guys hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And my number 1 movie is Goodfellas from 1990. That's really my favorite movie. I just like the true story of the crime. The 3 people. We got Rob De Niro, we got Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta, all together in that movie, and they just had the chemistry, and it just felt right on the screen.
Yeah,
And
Ray.
I do have an honorable mention
Oh, okay.
for this one, and I'm actually going to throw it out to The Wrestler from 2008
Oh, Mickey
with
Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was pretty good, even for a drama. It was pretty good. Just the way they portrayed the movie and the way it was done was it was enjoyable seeing it. You kind of got behind the scenes of what was going on, this underground wrestling type thing. Just guys trying to make it.
Yeah, yeah, and being a pro wrestling fan, I can definitely empathize with parts of that, and then parts of it you can tell where they kind of stretched it. I mean, some people tried to say it made pro wrestlers, or it shows them in a negative light, but I don't think it really does. I mean, a lot of them they really do go through those struggles with the constant pain and looking for some sort of release, some sort of pills or something that's just going to take the pain away because they have to go 2, 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week sometimes and on those little independent circuits, sometimes 7 days a week. It just depends. But
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
mean, it might be scripted, but
yeah,
never take away these guys aren't athletes and acrobats, and especially for their size to do what they do is it's going to take a toll on them. I mean, you can't take that many hits to your back or your neck without any problems coming later.
right, yep. So, all right. Well, I guess I will move on to my list then. I have a couple honorable mentions to start out with here. Um, One is called Mystery Men. This is a movie that I saw years and years ago. Ben Stiller stars in it. He is one of the most underrated comedy geniuses out there right now. I don't think he really gets enough credit for how good he really is. Um, and at the time, it really had a lot going on for it. It was really funny, kind of an idea that hadn't been done before, as far as I know. And even had Pee Wee Herman in it, which was pretty funny, or the actor who played him anyway. Um, and then
Oh,
yeah, and then my other honorable mention would go to the Ernest movies. Jim Varney, I just love that guy, and gone way too soon, but he was really good as Ernest P. Worrell in all the Ernest movies. Ernest Saves Christmas, Goes to Prison, all kinds of stuff like that. If you don't know him, you might know him from playing Slinky the dog in Toy Story or whatever his name was. And John, I know you liked the Beverly Hillbillies that he was in, right?
yes, when he played Jed Clampett, that was to me that was a really good part for him. He seemed to fit that part perfect, especially being from Kentucky himself. That just really fit.
Yeah, yeah. He was a great actor and just definitely missed. So, all right. My number five actually goes to Ghostbusters. Kind of an all-star comedy cast at the time. Um, I just don't know what else to say about that one. I mean, everybody knows Ghostbusters, or if you don't, you should. Um, just a great movie. It was ahead of its time, really, I think. Um, Next up on number four is the movie Click. I know there are a lot of Adam Sandler haters out there, but I am definitely a fan of most of his work, really. I know that he enjoys a certain brand of comedy, and some people don't like that. It's kind of like Will Ferrell or something. A lot of people don't like his style of comedy, but I don't know. I've always been a big fan of Adam Sandler, and he had just a great movie in that one. Really, it was funny, but it also had a lot of important morals behind it as well. Kind of enjoying your family and not taking things for granted and trying to skip things. I mean, we all deal with things in our personal lives that we're like, man, I wish I could fast forward through this. I wish I could fast forward through this work week just to get to my 2 days off. But then there are things that happen after work at home and all kinds of stuff. You don't want to skip too much. But in that movie, he has this magic remote where he can skip forward in life, and then it ends up like TiVoing, and being like, oh, well, you want to skip this, so you'll probably want to skip this too. And it just, like, he ends up losing so much of his life. And, yeah, and it was a great movie about the relationship with his father as well. And he had, oh crap, what is his name? Playing Adam Sandler's father in that movie.
Henry
Um,
Winkler.
yeah, Henry Winkler. So just a
Yeah, the
great movie.
Fonz.
Yeah, definitely. It's so weird seeing him like in Waterboy, Henry Winkler playing that
Yeah,
that coach who just is so downtrodden and
big
beat.
out coach.
Yeah. So at number four, I know, or number three rather, you said Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I just kind of did a summary. All three movies I lumped into number three probably. I kind of echo what you feel about that. Really, for the whole series, I mean, just it really does. They did amazing, taking you out of this world and into another world, while still filming it in this world. It just it's such a great story, and it I don't know, it's iconic for pretty much everybody. Everybody loves Lord of the Rings. My number two is The Last Samurai. I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. I thought The Last Samurai gave a great look into what it might have been like back in that era, and it wasn't really cheesy, but it also had just lots of emotion and great acting all the way around. And number one for me is The Karate Kid, the original from 1984, starring Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. The remake that Will Smith decided to do and try to make his son a star is absolute blasphemy. I do not support it. I've only seen it one time because I was forced to, and I will never watch it again. I believe they didn't even offer Ralph Macchio a cameo in that, which is kind of disrespectful. But then again, they're using Jackie Chan, who does kung fu, and they're calling it the Karate Kid. So
Well, it's easier to draw people in on the Karate Kid that was already established than trying to make a whole new franchise.
yeah, exactly. So I'm still pretty mad about that one. Will be for a long time. I quit watching all Will Smith movies for a long time. I'm just now kind of accepting that he still exists out there as an actor. So it's whatever. But yeah, so all right, we'll move on to the list of your top 5 TV shows. John, I'll let you start that one out.
Okay, looking at my top 5 shows, my number 5 is on Sci-Fi. It's Paranormal Witness. Good show. They have good reenactments. People supposedly saying true ghost stories. They might be true, they might not be, which way they put on a good show. And I prefer that over Ghost Hunters, which you can blatantly see a lot of stuff that's staged.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately.
that bothers me. Ghost Adventurers, all them, they're so staged it's hard to watch anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, my number 4 is Master Chef. Gordon Ramsay's one of my favorite chefs, but seeing them guys work with adults and then when they do the juniors working with the kids is just so great. I
Yeah.
have a son of my own who's around that same age that these kids are on there. It's just neat seeing the potential that they have. And that's just a show I really enjoyed. My number 3 on History Channel is Mountain Men, and I really enjoy that. They follow the guys' lives. They're just trying to preserve the old way of life. Where we have a store a couple minutes away, just down the road, they might be 40 or 50 miles from the store. They're kind of living off the grid in a way.
Yeah.
They're just trying to preserve the old ways, and I appreciate that. I appreciate watching them, seeing how things were done. My number 2 is on Discovery. It's Moonshiners, which I really enjoy that. I mean, I enjoy seeing the camaraderie amongst the guys. It's a whole underground. Been doing it since we first moved over here in the 1700s, 1600s. We were making moonshine. George Washington had a rye recipe. He made moonshine for a long time.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's just so engraved in our history. It's hard to believe that's still illegal in most states. We're lucky enough to live in a state where it is legal for so much a year. Of course, they're following guys in Virginia, Kentucky, and it's illegal out there. They can't do it because the whole taxing distilled liquor.
Oh, okay.
So I enjoyed that show. There was a whole controversy over whether it was fake or not. They actually put it to rest, saying, "Look, when we actually see these shows, they're already done making it and gone. They don't even have the site there no more.
Huh.
So they can't go back on to the camera and say, well, this is what you did. So, well, you can't prove it because you didn't catch me red-handed with it and prove that's what was in that jar."
So they've got like a mobile thing set up where they make it in one place for a while and then they move on to another place to make it?
No, it's just hard backwork labor. They go up in the woods or wherever they are and they set their still up. They make some, for a few nights. They'll run it. They tear it down and get out of there.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah, so it's a backbreaking job from what I can tell. It takes a lot of work. But
Yeah.
the payoff, when you're making $100 a gallon selling this stuff or more, some of them are making $1,200, $1,300 a gallon.
Wow.
whiskey.
Jeez.
Same. Okay, my number one show is Walking Dead. I mean, I can't say nothing better about that. You know, just it's zombies and it's a show.
Yeah.
You gotta enjoy it. There is a few things that I personally don't like about season two. It's a little too soap opera for me.
Mm.
And they're staying on that farm, which is fine, but they didn't deal with surviving, in my opinion. I want to see them out there surviving. I want to see these characters and see where they go.
Yeah.
See what's really left out there. You know, how would you really survive?
Yeah.
I think that's all I got for my TV shows right now.
All right. Well, for mine, I have, let's see. My number 5 is Scrubs. Most people know Scrubs. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that over the years. It's been rerun for so long. Zach Braff is just amazing. A lot of his movies I've enjoyed as well. He's gone on to do a lot of, I think he directs his movies too, but I know he did Wish I Was Here, which just came out last year, toward the end of last year. Wish I Was Here. And then also, let's see, he did Garden State, which is infamous, I guess. I don't know. A lot of people know it, but then again, a lot of people don't know it. So yeah, Zach Braff, great guy. Dexter would be my number 4. That's a show that was on Showtime. Kind of an odd story. It was basically like this guy who was born with this really strange urge. He has to like kill things, basically. I don't know. It's some weird tick in his brain, you know, that just makes him have these urges or something. And his father got him to where he actually harnesses that in a good way, if that's possible. So he's a blood spatter analyst with the Miami police.
Metro.
Yeah. And so he ends up killing serial killers, killing murderers, basically. So that's like his way of releasing it in a positive manner, for the most part. Anyway, the show's built around that.
Yeah, I have to interject one thing. He wasn't born with the tick that made him kill. It was whenever he witnessed his mother being killed.
Oh, right, yeah.
And prayed with the chainsaw by the drug dealers. Traumatizing because he was too young to comprehend.
Right, yeah.
It got to him. The blood got to him.
Yeah. So that does make a little bit more sense. Let's see. My number 3 would be an anime called Yu Yu Hakusho. Great fighting anime from, I think that was the late 80s. So yeah, if you can find that one. They used to show it on Toonami, on Cartoon Network, years ago. I don't know if Toonami even still exists, really. But that was where you got a lot of your anime from Japan, one of the only places back then. So number 2 is a tie between The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad. I know, unfortunately, Breaking Bad probably, I don't know if it encouraged a lot of meth users or meth, you know, if it encouraged that kind of thing. But either way, it was a great story about a man who is a high school teacher, chemist teacher. He also had to work a part-time job at a car wash dealing with a crappy boss, just to kind of make ends meet and support his family. They just had another baby unexpectedly. And then he finds out that he has lung cancer, never smoked a day in his life. And he's afraid of leaving his family with nothing. And so he ends up finding this way to make money really fast and make a lot of money, and he's really good at it. So that's what he pursues, and obviously there's a lot of problems that go along with that. So just a really great show. It reminds you of your mortality, but also how far you would go to support those that you love. And kind of walking the line of good and bad, you know, like where is the line drawn exactly. My number 1 is also an anime. It's called Dragon Ball Z. If you haven't heard of it, then I don't know. Everybody's heard Dragon Ball Z. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. It is the number 1 fighting anime in all of history, I would say. It's just an amazing show. Lots of amazing characters that are very memorable and will stick with you forever. It's actually what got me into martial arts in the first place as a 13-year-old or 14-year-old. So pretty big deal for me in my life. Still a huge fan now. Probably always will be until I die. So made an impact, that's for sure. So definitely check all those out if you can. And we'll move on now to video games. And John, I'll let you take it from there.
All right. Top five video games. Of course, I had to really think about this. I played video games since Atari. I mean, it goes back that far. I remember playing some Atari games even. But I'll start at number five, and it's from the original PlayStation, which was Resident Evil. Still a game I love to play to this day. I don't mind getting on there playing. It had a good story. And, the graphics and stuff, they're going for that DVD quality, so that intro, you kind of have some live actors and stuff. They're throwing some live action scenes in there, but all in all, you had a good story, you had a good game, and it was a challenging game, too. You had limited ammo, you had to figure a way of killing these things, and monsters and everything else, and it was just puzzles and everything you could imagine in there. I really enjoyed that one. My number four on the PlayStation 3 is Splatterhouse. That's just let's just see how far we can go with the gore and just a free for all. That they throwing some F bombs and everything else and nudities and just everything's in it.
Yeah.
It's just fun to play. I mean, let's just see how far we can go.
Yeah.
And it does have some challenges to it too. I mean, it's not exactly a just run through easy game either. So, my third game is Final Fantasy VII. That game just has a good replayability. There's so much to do on it. And, I mean, you can get to the point there's not a whole lot to do, but it takes you a while to get to that point. You're looking at hours and hours of time.
Yeah.
To get to that point, I mean, I think at one point when you're fighting the ultimate weapons, you have some that are above ground and underground, and there's always something to do. You can always find something to do. When you finally get to the point there's nothing to do, it makes you want to start back over.
Yeah.
Just the story and the graphics for the time. This was the 90s. The graphics on that game were just insane. The cutscenes were so well done.
Yeah.
And smooth. My number two game is Batman Arkham Origins. Pretty well free play sandbox game for Gotham. I mean, I absolutely love it because even after you know the storyline, there's still more to do. With the storyline, you've got the introduction to Joker, you got Black Mask, Bane in his early form, and there's just a lot to do on that game. And like I said, even when you're done, there's still more to do. And it'll take you a while to finish up everything. You got kind of a little bit of start on the Riddler, leaving a few puzzles around, but not too many, but still makes for a good game. And then my number one game is from the old Nintendo system, and it's Legend of Zelda. I mean, that was just like your first role-playing adventure game. Of course, you couldn't have a story unless you had that book with it.
Yeah.
You could see what the whole story was, but you had to get better life, so you had to upgrade. You had to beat different dungeons. You had to travel. You had to get potions, upgrade your weapons. You had to upgrade your swords. And plus, it gave you the save ability that you could not do on any other NES game at the time. They did have a password system, I think, on Metroid, and Castlevania 2 had a password system. But that was a password system. That's not actually a save. So if you lost that little piece of paper you wrote it down on, you're starting over.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of games.
And it's just one of those games I can still pick it up to this day and play it again.
Yeah.
And still remember going through both quests. And plus having two quests on there. You got the first one, you go through the second one, same story. Everything's in a different position, though. And it's a little bit harder, too.
Yeah. I know, that reminds me. That reminds me of Mega Man X, how like on Super Nintendo you had that game and you would beat all the bosses, and they were kind of up in this oval around the main area there, and it would give you a different code you have to write down, like 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9 or something, and that's how you always picked up your spot. So I don't know, they came up with some interesting ways of saving your games in the years before memory cards and things like that. But
And even after, they had games come out like Super Mario 3 came out, which was getting toward the end of the NES console anyway.
Yeah.
But it still did have a save feature. You could play your butt off to get to World 6, World 7. When somebody bumps that system, you're done. I mean, it just reset itself and you were starting over from the beginning again.
Yeah, that would be horrible,
So,
heartbreaking.
still no saves, no password system on that game either.
Yeah.
Unless you use the Game Genie to modify the codes in there to
Yeah.
get your way through. But
I never tried that one. I remember the Game Shark I had, but that was like really crazy back then. I wish they had
I
those
had
for
the Game
PS.
Genie, and you could cheat your way through a lot of games.
Yeah. Man, they need to make a Game Shark for like PS3 and PS4. I don't know if that's even possible anymore, but at this point, I'm sure
I
it's
know they
all.
had one for the GameCube. I knew had one.
Oh yeah.
Had disc. You had to put the code in, then put the game right in after it.
Yeah. Okay, so for my games, I have two honorable mentions. One is NASCAR, any NASCAR game, NASCAR 14 right now. NASCAR 2004 was really good. EA actually made some pretty good NASCAR games, which I know EA gets crapped on a lot, and as they should. But they make some pretty good NASCAR games. Toward the end there, it kind of started to fall off. But and also speaking of EA, Battlefield 3 is my other honorable mention. Typically, I'm not really one for I love first person, but not like first person shooter type military games. But Battlefield 3 kind of got me into that genre. It's like that, but also you have tanks, helicopters, fighter jets. I mean jeeps. How many games can say that you can do all of that in a sandbox type open arena with all the fighting? And it's just crazy and immense. And John, you and I played that game all the time, so.
Oh yeah. Plus we have you play the objective, capture the flag. You play the capture the flag objective. You ain't got to worry about killing 20 or 30 guys. I mean, that's not your objective. Your objective is to capture these flags, and you can work your way up pretty high.
Yeah.
Rank doing that. I mean, you don't have to worry about killing somebody.
And that's good because I know I have a lot of trouble with that. I'm still working on it though. I mean, we're both getting better at that kind of thing. So.
Oh yeah.
So my number 5 goes to Minecraft. A lot of people think it's just a kid's game, but Minecraft is definitely. John, you put it perfectly when you say it's like virtual Legos, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just so
No
much
mess
fun.
Legos.
Yeah, and you can let your mind really wander, and you can build whatever you can imagine, pretty much. So it's really fun, and it has the element of combat and all that kind of stuff too. So it's just you have to just play it to understand it. Number 4 goes to The Last of Us, which is an amazing, amazing story. They're working on a movie for it right now, and that tells you how good it is. It came out right at the end of the PlayStation 3 console life. I mean, the life still goes on, and it probably will for another 5 years at least. But it came out right at the very end of kind of like the bridge between PS3 and PS4. So it is an amazing story. You get really attached to the characters. I may have even teared up a little bit at the end there, so I have to admit that kind of thing. Number 3 goes to Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Amazing, amazing game. Much like the sandbox type thing. There's so much depth to it. We're talking hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours. Probably leaning toward thousands of hours for me. But so yeah, there's that. Fallout 3, also made by Bethesda. Fallout 3 is my number 2 game of all time. It is just so amazing. It's post-apocalypse type. Like, I think the storyline is that China it was either China or Russia. China nuked us back in like the early 1950s. And so like the world is kind of frozen in that time period. Like you'll still see the 1950s era cars kind of like sitting on the side of a highway, all decaying and stuff from the nuclear fallout and all that. So it's really cool. And you still have like ray guns and stuff because the year that all this happens is actually like 2199 or something. I can't remember the date exactly, but it's just really cool. All the different elements and lots of DLC that they put out for it. And you can even get abducted by aliens with one of the DLC, which is really cool. Because then you can get like the alien guns and bring them back. And you have like super mutants and death claws, which are like these velociraptor type things that are just super scary. It's so fun. Number one is a tie between The Legend of Dragoon for PlayStation 1 and Final Fantasy X for PlayStation 2, which they just did a remaster of on the PS3, so you should definitely check that out as well. Final Fantasy X-2 as well. It's the first game that ever actually got a direct sequel in the Final Fantasy series. You have 10 and you have X-2, which is X-2. Just an amazing story for Final Fantasy X. It's fighting against fate, the same type of thing with Legend of Dragoon. It's just, like the same type of thing happens with their god in this world. And you end up essentially fighting against that will of the creator, I guess. But it's to save the world currently. And the Legend of Dragoon is much like that. The god of destruction is born every 10,000 years or something like that. And basically, the world is destroyed every 10,000 years. And this 10,000 years is up. And this time, we're going to stop that from happening. I don't know. I gave a long. We're having to record this podcast twice because the first one actually glitched up. I'll take the responsibility on that one because the program wasn't good, even though I blame the program. I kind of went in more in depth in explaining The Legend of Dragoon, and I feel like it drug on a little too long. So basically, just look it up. It's for PlayStation 1. You can find it on PS3 on the store online. It used to be 4 discs on PlayStation 1, and that was kind of a big deal too. It was actually dubbed the Final Fantasy Killer at one point because it was made directly by Sony, and it was so much like Final Fantasy, but not at the same time. One thing that was really cool with Legend of Dragoon that I think should be emphasized is the story was amazing. It was mind-blowing. I've beat the game 16 times now. I'm about to start my 17th in the near future. And in the combat system, it's turn-based, but you have timing. Like, John, you've played the new South Park game, where, like your guy will slash with the sword and you'll have a little thing that lights up or flashes and you have to press X right at that exact moment.
At the right exact moment.
Yeah, and on Legend of Dragoon, they have like a little box and another box that kind of floats into it, and right when they line up, you have to hit X. And it actually will chain together a series of moves. And like Dart, the main character, I think he has one that has up to nine boxes. So if you can hit all 9 chains successfully, you do a lot of damage. And so it adds a whole other element to the turn-based strategy. It's not just, your HP and MP that you're watching. You're actually timing it out and using strategy and hand-eye coordination and all that kind of stuff too. So it's a whole other element to that. And I love it so much. And it's cool because you really feel like you're doing it then, because it gets you in the move. But anyway, so that is my top 5 games. Well, top 7 technically. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this podcast. John, did you have anything else to add to the end here?
Not much. I don't think we need to plug our Twitters. I'm at Twitter at JGuitarRock. And, leave comments. Tell us what you want us to review, what else you want us to look at, suggestions, anything. I mean, we'll cover anything entertainment or media involved. That's no problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it's a subpar movie, I mean, I can even sit through them if I have to. So I've sit through a lot of them.
Yeah, and you don't always plan them to be subpar when you go into it, but unfortunately that happens from time to time. Yes. My Twitter is at JeffJarman55. Like I said at the beginning of the show, you might know me from the Jeff Jarman Show that's on YouTube. This will be on YouTube as well, obviously. Lots of places you can find us. Just, and leave your top 5 in the comments if you want as well, if you feel so inclined. If you want to come on the show and talk about something or, just have anything to add, or like John said, you want us to review or cover or talk about or anything, feel free. Like I said, I gave kind of a brief overview of the next few episodes, but we can throw stuff in there here and then, now and then. So, just whatever you want to do. Thank you for watching the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and the next few episodes will be very informative, and hopefully you'll learn a few things, and for you media buffs out there, you can get a lot out of it. So anyway, find us on Facebook, Twitter, just all over the place. And thank you for watching. We will talk to you later.
See?